Well, it's officially the Eric and Adam show, and I don't know about you, Adam, but that intro music just being a little different than what we're used to. I was in a little bit of a panic attack, right? I'm not sure when I'm supposed to come in or when it was going to drop, and I kept thinking it was going to drop, and nobody will see this because you're going to blur it out, but you're in the background and you're just hammering on that bass that doesn't actually exist. So here we go. The Eric and Adam show, a little TEAS action for you on a Wednesday night is when we're recording this. Adam has hopes to get this dropped by.
That's an excellent question.
It's a great question.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, it will be out before the weekend. Is that correct?
Will it? Will it be out?
It has to be
I will do my best.
You gotta get it out.
I will do my best to get it out before Saturday.
Important to be out at least before Saturday because we're going to talk a couple of things that are relatively timely and will be completely worthless if you're watching this past Saturday. So, so anyway, couple of quick. Go ahead.
Remember, I got some stuff I got to do before I come over. I got to do laundry. I got to do a bunch of adult things before I even come over. So I may not have the most amount of time to edit an actual video because we're here. We're talking to you guys.
We are, and this is the first time they're seeing us. That's why you can just see the click-offs quickly happening, where they're just logging out of here as soon as possible. Yeah. So I would like to say that part of my, costume, we'll call it tonight, is the Caitlin Clark hat, as the Indiana Fever are playing the Seattle Storm right now. Not going real well here at about the end of the first quarter. But then there's also this. So I was a little struggling into which hat I should probably wear as the Pacers and Celtics are now embattled in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, you guys know, obviously, at this point, I'm in Indianapolis. We've talked a lot about all of the wonderful things that happen in Indy. None of them greater than what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But just think about this. For a Midwest little town, this has been our week in sports. Pacers, Celtics. Actually, no, it was Fever, Sun, Pacers, Celtics. Tonight, Fever, Storm. Tomorrow, Pacers, Celtics. That's Thursday. Friday, Carb Day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Saturday, Pacers, Celtics. Sunday, Indianapolis 500. Monday, Pacers, Celtics. Tuesday, Fever.
Potentially,
it's just ridiculous.
Sunday, potentially, Indianapolis 500. Maybe Monday.
We got to bring it up, don't we?
We got to bring it up. It has to be brought.
So here's the thing. I mean, I think all you guys know I've been doing this for a while. This will be my 35th straight Indianapolis 500. There has been zero that have had a worse forecast than the one that we have staring down the barrel right now. The forecast for Sunday, not good. Looks like rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon, showers in the morning. And if you put that together, that's an entire day of wetness. And they need about an hour and a half to 2 hours to completely dry out the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the event that it gets wet. After that hour and a half to 2 hour period, you can then run the race. The race takes about 3 hours. So you need a good 5 hour window from rain stop to rain start. And that has to be done before it even starts to get dark because there's no lights around the 2.5 mile Brickyard. So lots up in the air at this point, but I think Adam has brought us to a pretty good transition point. Let's just jump in. It is Indianapolis 500 weekend because Adam is heading over here in less than 48 hours. In fact, he'll be here in 48 hours. In fact, we may be doing a show in 48 hours as our first official in-person show. We're getting a head shake. That was a big head bob.
Yeah, we're not doing the show. We're watching the videos for the show.
Well, that's got to be discussed. So if we veto the videos for the show that Adam has brought up to us, then we'll be doing the show.
What? Why would we veto?
I'm just saying that might happen. I don't know. I don't run the thing.
We do. You and I run the show. We are oxidized. We are Mr. Oxidized.
We definitely are, but there's a lot of people that have to weigh in. So corporate sponsors, for example, 1122 Realty. 1122 Realty here in Indianapolis, owner of Back Home Again, the world's greatest Airbnb, located on 12th Street in Speedway, Indiana. And make sure you check that out at some point. We will put, in fact, I'll have Adam put a link in the video down below where you can click just to take a look at it. And special thanks to 1122 for all that they do to make this thing actually happen. So, but that's coming up. But again, let's get back to what's going on. So Adam's going to be here in a couple of days, which is the reason he's coming over is for the Indianapolis 500. As we talked about on the podcast this past week, that was a thing. Is he's now ready to go. He's coming and going to be able to go to the race, whether it happens or not. So let's just kind of set the stage for you about Sunday. Sunday is the Indianapolis 500. It'll be the 108th running of the world's greatest race and or the greatest spectacle in racing at the world's greatest race course. And Adam, this will be numero 4 for you.
This will be number 5.
Number 5 for you. Thank you. I think you've told me that on 3 episodes. So
I have.
Number 5 will be exciting, but you've not been to one where there's been any precipitation. Is that true?
I think one year we were worried about it, but I think it ended up being okay.
And that, I mean, honestly, like I said, I've been doing this for 35 years. That's pretty much been the case, okay? That it does tend to be okay. Like I said, I've been going for 35. The stats on this one are kind of interesting. So I've been going for 35 years. In those 35 years, there's been 3 times that it's actually impacted my race. So essentially 1 out of almost every 10 years. 97, Arie Luyendyk. The race was rained out on Monday. It was rained out on Sunday. They ran it on Monday for 15 laps, and it got rained out again. And they finally completed the race on Tuesday. And that was 97. 2004, Buddy Rice was the winner after 180 laps, and that race was completed. So the way that it works at Indy is if it's raining and it's lap 100, it is a 200-lap race. So if it gets halfway done, if you've won the Indy 250 and the rain starts and they can't get it going, they will not push it to the next day. That bad boy is going to be finalized. And that happened in 2004 with Buddy Rice when he won it with Rahal Letterman Racing. And then in 2007, Dario Franchitti with Andretti won it after 160 laps. So those are the 3 times in my 35 years where it's actually happened. Now, this will be the 108th, which means there's been 107 previous of them. Only 12 times has weather either shortened or postponed the Indianapolis 500. So the odds are interesting, and I said that, but I say that again because in my 35 years, it's been, 3 out of 35, and out of 107, it's almost been 10 out of 100. So it seems to be about the same sort of a percentage, about a 10% time you're going to have weather sort of impact this thing. So in many ways, we're due. And so it is just the thing. It's always happens on the Sunday before Memorial Day, and the weather is what the weather is. There's nothing they can do about it, and you just have to wait and see what happens. So as of right now, at the time we're recording on Wednesday evening at 10:30 p.m., the forecast, it don't look good. Adam, you've been looking at it?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's the better thing to do. I've been consuming far too much of my time looking at it, and quite frankly, not happy with what I'm seeing. It does look like we will at least get this thing in on Monday. So,
cool.
Sunday morning, we will be leaving Carmel, Indiana, up here where Studio X is. We're about a 40-minute drive from the Speedway on a normal day without traffic, and we leave at 6 a.m. And the reason we do that is to try to avoid some of that 350,000 people traffic. So we're going to leave here at 6 in the morning, and we'll get there, and we don't know what we're going to be in for. It could be just a very long day of sandwiches and chips and some cocktails and sodas sitting at the car. It's just something that we just don't know how that thing's going to play out. Now, at some point, they could say, hey, we've made the decision, and we're not going to go today. And if that's the case, everybody packs up, heads home, and we're going to go back to the Speedway on Monday. So that is how it would play out. If it doesn't run Sunday, it'll be Monday. Go ahead, bud.
Same like scenario of waking up super early, doing all that stuff again.
Exactly like the first day didn't happen. Exactly like the first day didn't happen. So
I'm gonna have to take several naps so I can drive home if it does happen on Monday.
Well, you'll get plenty of naps on if we are sitting in the car and it's raining for hours, which I have been in a few of those situations over 35 years. Yeah. Those are pretty good nap times. So you'll have plenty of time to sleep there. And then if they do cut it for the day, they will do that early to mid-afternoon. They're not going to wait until 4 or 5 because there are no lights around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So when it gets dark, it's over. So so we'll get home early, worst case scenario on Sunday, and retool and get ready to go down there again on Monday. Forecast Monday looks significantly better. A little bit of rain in the morning, but then it's from about 10 o'clock on. Looks like the rain's going to be gone. It'll be a little bit overcast, but they'll be able to dry that stuff off, and we'll get ready to rock and roll. So
cool.
If you've never heard an air dryer or a jet air, it's basically a jet engine on wheels.
Yeah.
And they roll that around, and it is quite an impressive display of power. But they can dry that stuff off pretty quick. And then as well as the jet dryer, the track dryers that are going around, there are a continuous stream of ambulances and construction vehicles and trucks and all of this stuff just flying around the track, trying to create enough wind to help dry off the track too. Now, they won't really start that until the rain stops, which is why it takes about 2 hours after, because if it's raining, it's not doing much for you. So, so that's kind of where we're at. That's what that looks like. Just in terms of some of the history of rain at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And at the same time, I'm going to put Adam on a little bit of notice here and see if he has any idea about his Indy 500 history.
Yeah.
Adam, the first year of the Indianapolis 500, what year was that? Don't think about it too hard because you've got war years in there.
You got war years. So they didn't run it during World War II.
Right, that's right. So you have
did they run it?
II, they didn't run it.
World War One.
World War One, they didn't run it.
Cold War, Vietnam.
Vietnam, they did.
Cold War.
Cold War, yeah, absolutely. Cold War wasn't a war. You need
so
to
just the World Wars.
Yeah, the World Wars specifically. So let's put it this way:
19.
We're waiting. Everyone's waiting.
And it's 108th running?
108th running. Yeah. 108th.
1911.
1911 was the first Indianapolis 500. So
wait,
if we're
actually?
at the 100 and it really was, yeah. I'm pretty proud
Are
of you.
Are you serious?
For that. Yeah, that's serious. So you know, so it started in 1911. And any idea who won the first one? Again, we'll keep with the trivia.
Pato O'Ward.
2 names. He had a first name and a last name.
Oh, thanks. Willpower. No, I don't know.
Ray Haroon.
Nope.
Ray Haroon won the 1911 Indy 500. Ray Haroon. He drove a Marmon Wasp, which I can show you a model of that when you're in town, Adam.
Yeah.
And he won it at an average speed 77.7 miles an hour. So took him about 6 hours to win the race back then. So anyway, I bring up all of that because that was 1911, and rain did not take long before it started to impact the race. 1915 was the first year that it was rained out, and it really hasn't been, like I said, that many years. 1915, 26, 40, 50, 67, 73, 75, 76, 86, 97, 2004, 2007. So, like I said, it's unfortunate, but it's one of those things where we're kind of due. It's been a long time, back to 2007, before rain has impacted this race. So,
man,
we will see.
Chair's getting worse and worse, man.
Everyone loves your chair, bro. That's the thing.
It's
now you will put this on YouTube, obviously. So we've got the video content that's out there. But then you're also, if I'm right, you're going to put this on to Spotify as well, correct?
So that'll be
a thing, and it'll be listed as the Eric and Adam show.
Yeah, you can view it as audio only, but you can also see it as a video on Spotify too, which is really cool. Yeah,
very nice, cool. All right, like I said, I don't know if anybody will ever come back. So, and this is the Eric and Adam show, because it's going to be the YouTube version. Isn't going to be set to, this is the certain time frame and all that sort of stuff. Tonight, I definitely don't think we're going to be going super long. No. But really just wanted to kind of kick this off and give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, because we've talked about this for about 8 weeks and the ramp up to this, and it's a big deal.
You mentioned it the very first episode, and you mentioned it would get ramped up,
and it has done that. So here we are, that close. It's unfortunate. The biggest annoyance of it is you've got to worry about the weather. That's the thing that nobody likes. I've been doing this for a long time, and anytime there's a forecast that's sketchy, it sucks, because there's a lot of work that these guys put into it, obviously. But then you think about all the people that travel from around the country and around the world. Last year, we sat by a father and son that had traveled in from Brazil to see Tony Kanaan's final race. And, they'd never been to the race before, and we talked to Dad and the son, and they were just super cool. But you think about what that's like when you take the resources it would take you to fly from Sao Paulo, Brazil, here, and then it rains out.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't run Sunday, they go Monday. If it doesn't run Monday, they go Tuesday, right? And they're going to continue to push it off into the week. Like I said, I think we're going to be good to get this thing on Monday, but if you're flying internationally and you've got your flight booked for Monday afternoon, I just don't know how that whole thing plays out. So
yeah.
All right. So real quick, let's dig into the field of the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500. The last time we spoke, if you haven't heard episode 9, go dig it up from Spotify. It's actually a pretty good one.
I agree.
And we talked about this a little bit.
Editing job on that intro, if I do say so myself.
The editing job was really good. So I don't know whoever 1122 Realty is paying for that.
Yeah.
But they're getting their money's worth. So we'll go with that. All right. You get what you pay for. Okay. So we talked about there were the Fast 12. We went through that. And then we talked about the last row, and there were 4 cars that we're going to have to fight it out and see who it was going to be. It was Catherine Legg was one. The winner 2 years ago, Marcus Ericsson, was one. Graham Rahal was one. And Nolan Siegel, who was a rookie, was the other. On Sunday, this past Sunday, in bump day for qualifications, those 4 went out, and they had an hour to compete against each other and see who would make it into the race. And as of with about 8 minutes to go, Catherine Legg was 31st. Marcus Ericsson was 32nd, Graham Rahal was 33rd, and Nolan Siegel was in the car rolling out, getting ready to go make his final qualification attempt. About his second lap, coming out of, I think it was 1, he crashed really hard into turn 2, which ended his hunt for the race and has cemented that last 3 the way that it was before we even went into this. So Catherine Legg is the only female qualifier of the race. She'll start at 31st. Marcus Ericsson, again, won 2 years ago. He's going to be 32nd. And then at 33rd will be Graham Rahal. So at least Graham got in this year the right way. He did get in last year. It was a pretty unique situation. Steph Wilson qualified for the race, went out and practiced on Monday, was injured and unable to get back in time for the race, and they made a deal where Graham was able to fill in for him. So he got in the race, but it was a pretty bizarre sort of situation. So Graham is in. He qualified. His qualification speed, the slowest in the field this year, 229.974, puts Graham there in 33rd. So there's that row. Adam, should we go through the field real quick just to go ahead and kind of lay it out and kind of talk about some of this stuff?
I think we should. You want to go?
Let's
I
go.
say row,
So
you say row?
let's do that. So we're at 11. Why don't we go up from here?
Go up.
Okay. I'm going to let you hit row 10 because it has one of your favorites, and I've got a little cool piece of trivia for you with row 10. So go ahead and take row 10 away.
All right. 30th, we got Pietro Fittipaldi. 29th, my boy, Connor Daly. 28th, Christian Lundgaard.
So good stuff about Connor Daly. Connor Daly is – so there's a whole lot about this. Lundgaard is a rookie. So interested to see how he kind of does for the year. Pietro Fittipaldi is actually a relative of Emerson Fittipaldi, who won the race in 1989, the first year that I went 35 years ago. So it's really cool to see a Fittipaldi back. And then you've got Connor Daly, who is just this cool kid. He lives in Noblesville, Indiana. He's grown up here his whole life and just loves the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And what's really fun is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway loves Connor Daly. The place goes nuts every time he's introduced. He led the race a couple of years ago and said it's the first time he's ever heard a crowd over his race car engine. And it's just super cool. So Connor will start there again, middle of row 10. Adam, the cool thing is a guy that I work with, his name's Vinny, is actually on the Dreyer and Reinbold team. And he is the front left tire changer of Connor Daly. So
really
pretty cool connection there.
So Vinny's the same guy that was with Sage?
Yes, that's correct. So
okay.
A couple of years ago, Sage Karam was a driver, ran for Dreyer and Reinbold. Sage is not in the race this year. He's focusing on a different type of motorsport. But it was a Dreyer and Reinbold entry, and Vinny was right up there. And when I say front left tire changer, that's not actually correct. Vinny's a couple years older than me. He's the front left tire grabber. So what happens is the tire changer will essentially gets down at the pit. The guy gets off. He takes the tire. Guy hands the tire back. Vinny grabs it and throws it over the wall. And that doesn't sound like a big deal, but if an IndyCar tire with the rim those things are on is exceptionally heavy. So
and probably very hot from the friction too.
The whole process is very stressful. There's a whole lot going on. It's heavy and it's hot, and you're trying to get your car back on the track and not drop that thing. So yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, he's going to be on, he'll be working on Connor. So there's an extra reason for us to root for Connor this year.
Always.
All right, let's move up to, go ahead.
Connor he does this thing a lot where he will start far back and he will slowly over time throughout the race make his way into top 10, top 15.
He's patient.
He's patient and he knows how to make plays when he has to.
Yeah, there's few people that I would want to see starting in the middle of row 10, right? That is not a great place to be because you are, when the thing that's scary about Indy is at the start, they do 11 rows of 3, which means if you're in row 3 back to basically row 10, where Connor's at, you are 100% surrounded by race cars going 230 into one corner, all trying to get there at the same time. Very scary place. Connor's about the only one that I'm like, he's chill, man. He's just going to kind of ease back, let the guys go, wait for mistakes, and keep moving up. So, no, you're right.
He knows how to play the game. He
does know how to play the game. He's been around that speedway for a long time. All right, row number 9. Starting on the outside of row 9, Linus Lundqvist is 8th. He qualifies at 2:31.5. Romain Grosjean, who is a Formula One driver, now a couple of years removed from F1, qualifies there in the middle of row 9 at 2:31.5. And then Tom Blomqvist. So we got a lot of Blomqvists, a lot of Kvists going on this year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
There's another one on up too, isn't there?
Yes.
Rosenqvist.
Rosenqvist. So you got Rosenqvist, Blomqvist, Lundqvist, Lundgaard. It's there's a lot of Scandinavians coming over to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they're quick, which is cool. So 2:31.5 for Tom Blomqvist, and that takes us out to row 9. And now we're going to go ahead and look up to row 8. Adam, it's all yours.
Oh, row 8. Christian Rasmussen.
Yep.
Stingray Robb, what a name.
Stingray Robb, second year at the Indianapolis 500, very young guy, devout Christian, has John 3:16 on his jerseys, on his cars, and just a super cool dude and the greatest race car name in the world, and it's his real name. Please continue.
His real name is Stingray Robb.
Stingray Robb. Yeah.
And then 22nd, Agustin Canapino.
Canapino, fast. Dude is fast. 231. Faster than he shows here at 231.8. But another guy that just doesn't care. Just going to keep plowing through the field. All right, as we continue to plow through the field, we're going to take a look at row number 7. Row number 7 this year, A-Dog, it's a powerhouse, man.
Seriously.
These names are...
Whoa, hold on a second.
Correct. Let's get through it, and then you can give me your excitement. Here's row 7, starting on the outside. Number 9, multiple winner in everything he's ever driven, Scott Dixon, 231.8. In the middle of row number 7, one of the four-time winners of the Indy 500, the only one vying for his 5th, Helio Castroneves qualifies at 231.8. And on the inside of row 7, one of the most famous last names in motorsports, Andretti, Marco Andretti, the grandson of Mario, qualifies at 231.8. There's your row 7. Adam is going to take row 6.
Sorry.
Adam is going to take row 6.
Row 6. Typhon Simpson. Number 20 is Ed Carpenter. And number 11, Marcus Armstrong.
Little trivia about Ed Carpenter. Any idea who he is in terms of the speedway itself?
No, but I know he's been around a long time.
Been around a long time. His stepfather, named Tony George, was owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Anton Holman George, which was Tony's father, the George family has owned the Speedway for a really long time. And the Holman family has owned it. Actually, it was the Holman family that Tony was part of. But his stepdad or his stepson is Ed Carpenter. So Ed, as he grew up, was literally around the track, all the time. And just does one race a year now, I believe, and it's the Indianapolis 500. He has never done road courses. He is an oval guy, and it's good to see Ed Carpenter back. And then Marcus Armstrong, also going to be interesting to see how he does this year. He was picked up by Ganassi last year as a road course runner, and we think he's going to be pretty fun to watch as well. So we move up to row 5. On the outside, Callum Ilott with the McLaren race team. He qualifies at 232.2. In the middle, your former champion, Alex Palou, and never won the Indy 500, but he did win the Grand Prix just a couple of weeks ago. Super fast. Kind of surprised to see him. Obviously, row 5 is not that far down, but it's surprised to see Alex down that far. And then Colton Herta on the inside of row 5. He'll be kicking off spot 13 at 232.316. Adam, row 4.
Number 23, Ryan Hunter-Reay, who is or is not your favorite?
Cannot stand him.
Right. So, okay, Graham Rahal is the one you do like. I don't know why I get those two always mixed up.
Yes.
Anyway, Ryan Hunter-Reay, number 27, Kyle Kirkwood, and he's not my favorite, but he will always hold a special place in my heart because he was my first winner, number 75, Takuma Sato.
So Taco is the thing about Sato. A couple of things that I love. He is a Japanese driver, lives in Japan basically year round. When he comes to Indy, he had befriended this family that's here in Carmel, Indiana, and has lived with them every month of May since he's come back. And they have had this just amazing friendship that they've formed over the years. And there's been lots of articles about Takuma when he comes to town and what he does and how he'll go grocery shopping for it. Like, it's just a really cool story. So Takuma's a great guy, super fast. My favorite thing about Takuma is he has zero cares, does not care, will take 3 cars into a corner knowing that only one of them is probably going to come out, and it's probably not going to be him. but he doesn't care. So Sato, it's good to see him back again. Another Formula One driver, and super fast. And then back to Ryan Hunter-Reay. Yes, he's the one I mentioned on a couple episodes ago that barely qualified and was whining about his car, but had bumped out this guy named Marty Roth and his wife, and they had spent all of their dollars trying to get in this race, and just the heartbreak you could see in them. And then the young pretty boy there whining that, I barely made the Indy 500 and my car sucked. So from that point on, I've never really liked him. And then after that, a couple years later, he went on to win just to prove that, he probably deserves it. But anyway, row number 3.
Real quick,
Felix
fun fact about Takuma Sato.
Go.
First Asian individual to ever win the Indy 500.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And he's a 2-time winner, right?
Is he? Is he 2-time?
I think Takuma's won twice. Google that real quick. But I think Takuma's one of the, it's hard to win this thing once. And as you start adding more wins into it, it gets really interesting. But I think Takuma's won it twice.
Takuma Sato won the Indy 500 in 2017 and 2020.
There you go. So he is 2-time winner. That's right. He did win the COVID year, which is pretty interesting.
He did.
All right. So row number 3, Felix Rosenqvist, 232.3. In the middle, Pato O'Ward, another McLaren driver. I love Pato O'Ward. I will be wearing a Pato jersey all weekend and rooting for him. I think he's just an incredible talent. I watched him come up from Indy Lights for several years now, and he's close, and he's always fast, and also most drivers aren't a huge fan of Pato because he will put you in a wall. He just doesn't care. But he's super fast, and he will be fun to watch. He'll be number 5, rolling off of the middle of row 3. And then on the inside of row 3, a guy that you just never know what kind of box to put him in, Rinus VeeKay, doesn't do a whole lot. You don't hear a whole lot about him any other time of the year, but man, is there something about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that Rinus and the Speedway are they've just got a thing. And big fan of Rinus as well. 232.6 is what he qualifies in there as in row 3. He'll be rolling off on the inside of row number 3 and spot number 7. So, Adam, we'll kick it up to you here, brother, for row 2.
In the 6th place, number 14, Santino Ferrucci. Is that
Ferrucci? Yeah, they should call him Fastucci because the dude is blazing. And also another one like Sage Karam used to be, like Rinus, like Pato, doesn't care.
Yeah.
Just
232.6. Something I'm noticing, all 3 in row 2 and all 3 in row 1 are all Chevys.
Yes. In fact, Rinus was also a Chevy.
Rinus and Pato.
As was Pato. Yeah. So the first 8,
all
8
Chevy
fastest
cars.
were Chevys. And obviously, the interesting part of that, the question becomes, is Chevy really good, like fast-wise? But how are they going to be when it gets to, pit stops? What's their fuel strategy going to be like? Are they going to run out of gas because they're so fast? And are they going to have to pit more often? That sort of stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that plays out. So anyway, but yes, you're right. Does Chevy's top 8.
In the 5th place, another Arrow McLaren, number 17, Kyle Larson, 232.8 was his 4-lap average.
232.8 and 4-lap average. What's interesting about him, Adam? Do you remember that? Do you know what's going on with Kyle?
I do not. Rookie? Unfortunately, rookie
from NASCAR.
That's right.
NASCAR champion Kyle Larson. So this past weekend on Sunday qualifies, went for the pole, obviously finished in 5th position for the chase for the pole, gets out of his car, gets into a helicopter, and flies to the NASCAR All-Star race. I didn't see how he finished. Double. He did that double, but then he's going to do the big double on Sunday if weather cooperates. He will leave the Indianapolis 500 and go to the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah.
So one of the, I don't know, he's the 4th or 5th driver that's ever going to be to have attempted that. So Kyle Larson, clearly first time jumping out of NASCAR into an IndyCar. I think he gets it. I think he has figured this thing out. So There you go, Adam. I'll let you finish off row number 2.
And in the number 4 place, another Chevy, another Aaron McLaren, number 7, and a very good friend of my boy, Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi.
Yeah, that's true. So did you ever watch The Amazing Race?
I did not.
But I knew there was a year where, Rossi and Daly were on The Amazing Race, and they were just super cool. I know that I don't know what their situation is now, but they were roommates for quite a while.
They were roommates in Indy.
At Indy, yeah. So just good buddies. And Rossi is super fast. Love to see him on the McLaren team. He's obviously been the fastest driver on that team. Qualified at 2:33. And he is a one-time winner. He won the 100th Indy 500. So would love to see Rossi kind of get back up there and take forward. So that leaves me here with talking about row number 1. And this does not happen that often, where you have a team so dominant they're able to take over the front row.
Yeah.
Now, this team has come up a few times on the podcast already, and not the greatest sort of circumstances, except for the fact that Penske Honda is the only place to buy a Honda in all of Indianapolis. It's on the north side, 465, just south. You're going to get to 96th Street and Keystone, and you'll be looking for Honda Penske.
Hashtag non-spawn.
Hashtag non-spawn. Honda has had an issue with cheating this year.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. And on the road courses, there's this thing called push to pass. We're not going to geek into it. However, they were cheating and overusing the system that they're not supposed to be using. In this race for the Indianapolis 500, Team Penske has swept the front row. However, there is no push to pass at the Indianapolis 500. So these guys have done this legit. And, they've gone through plenty of regulations to have this things checked out, obviously, given what's kind of happened. So here's your top 3. Starting on the outside of row number 1, Joseph Newgarden, last year's winner. Qualified this year, 233.8. Good guy, good driver. Started with Sarah Fisher Racing years ago, has worked his way up, tried to keep his nose clean, except for the push to pass episode. Other than that, great American race car driver, and love to see him do well. In the middle of row 1, Will Power. And I think we talked about this. Will Power won Ren's first Indianapolis 500.
2018.
And Will is another guy that is just hard to root against. Clean cut, super fast, qualifies at 233.917. And then that leaves us to the pole.
He's an Aussie, right?
He is an Aussie, Will. Yep, absolutely true. And by the way, if your name is Willpower, dude, that's the coolest name ever.
That's the coolest name for any kind of athlete.
Doesn't matter what you do.
No.
Right? My name's Willpower. I mean, that's beautiful. So I hope that,
Willpower.
Willpower. We really hope that that whole front row has a great weekend. But starting off number 1, a Kiwi. From New Zealand. And usually when you hear Kiwi, New Zealand, Indianapolis, IndyCar Racing, Indianapolis 500, you automatically think of Scott Dixon. Not this time. This time it is Scotty McLaughlin. Scott was a New Zealand, has done a lot of super race cars. I forget what they're called. It's escaping me. Australian V8s or something like that. He's a supercar racer and was a supercar champion there a couple of times. So it is good to see Scotty pick it up here. First and only driver to qualify at this speed, 234.220. He is the fastest qualifier in 108 years, the fastest qualifier ever at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A good friend of mine that I affectionately call Kiwi because he is from New Zealand, Kevin, out in Seattle, sent me a Scotty McLaughlin cup. So this part of it is sponsored by my buddy Kiwi. So Kiwi, thanks for the cup. I appreciate it. And, glad to see that your boy is up on pole. So we'll be kind of rooting for him, but kind of not just because you're both Kiwis. Adam, did you happen to look that up real quick to see what Scotty was champion of?
I cannot find I didn't want to.
No, you're
see
good.
If I can find like a proper answer.
Scott McLaughlin. Where is it? He previously raced supercars. Yeah, so he was the Supercars champion. He's from Christchurch, New Zealand. He's 30 years old. And, the cool thing is he is the absolute fastest driver in Indianapolis 500 history, at least in terms of putting a qualification lap together. There was one spot on, I think it was Saturday, which was qualification day, Adam, and I sent you a Joseph Newgarden speed trap speed of turn 3. His speed trap was like 241.9 or something insane. So these guys are absolutely crushing life when it comes to speed. So, all right, there we go. One other update. It's halftime. This is late. This is really just for Adam and I's interest. Seattle Storm 44, Indiana Fever 40 at the half. So,
and that's Clark's team.
That is Caitlin's team here at in Indiana, which is fun. Mm-hmm. They are 0-4, however, but getting closer and closer and closer every game. So excited to see how this one goes. In fact, we're going to wrap here. I'm going to head upstairs and I'm going to watch the rest of this bad boy before I go to bed.
As we're I'm assuming we're starting to wind down here a little bit, but I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
Who's your early prediction before Carb Day and whatnot?
That's a good question.
Who's your early prediction?
So can I have 3?
Sure.
All right. I am going to take Will Power from row number 1.
That's a safe bet.
I am going to take Alexander Rossi from row number 2. And I am going to take Scott Dixon.
Okay.
I think Scotty is in row 7.
He is.
He's with, right? It's Dixon,
Elio and Marco.
Neves, and Marco. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Will Power, Rossi, Scott Dixon.
All right.
What about you?
I was also going to go with Rossi.
I like it.
Something in my chest is saying that something's going to happen in row 1, and these guys are not going to be there for long. Like this, they get out there, they get quick, and then they get cocky, and something always has. Somebody crashes, somebody goes too long, and their tires get shot or something. So I ain't pulling any of them. I'm probably going to go, I think I'm going to go Rossi. I'm going to say Connor only because he's my boy, and, I have hope he's going to win.
That's fine.
Has he ever won? He's never won an Indy 500, has he?
He has never won an IndyCar race.
But he's consistent.
He's consistent. Consistently not a winner. Yes, that's very true.
And I gotta go for him. I hope he gets his 5th. I hope he gets his 5th
too.
Let's
go. So too.
Third pick, Elio Castroneves. I hope he gets his 5th.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Natalie is not in the studio tonight. If Natalie was, she would tell you it's Elio. That's her entire weekend is going to be Elio focused and watching him as he tries to get his way up from the 7th row. Realistically, you got 11 rows. He's in the middle of 7. It's not going to be that difficult for him. He could do it. The furthest back anybody has ever won the Indianapolis 500 from is the 32nd position. So somebody has won from 32. Somebody came from 33. His name was Scott Goodyear, almost beat Al Unser, didn't finish 2nd. So Scott Goodyear started 33rd, finished 2nd. That's been the best that a 33rd starter has ever done. But it's so cool. There's just so many things that are gonna play out this weekend, and I just start to get excited as we talk about it. I can't believe we're this close. I wish the forecast was better for Sunday so that it could go the way that it's supposed to on the Sunday before Memorial Day and everyone can see it. And but like I said, if it's not there, you guys need to watch it. Just search it out, Look for this thing, whether it be Sunday or Monday, it doesn't matter. It is the most amazing 3 hours of motorsports that you'll ever see. It is just a unbelievable story from beginning to end, and it has been for the entire month. As we've watched this kind of stuff, and we've watched it all unfold from the Penske cheating to, just all the other stuff that happens. Graham not getting ready to get in, then he does get in, and now we've got, a full field. I think it's going to be really interesting. Adam, if I had to make a prediction to piggyback off of what you said, it would be that Catherine Legg, historically speaking, doesn't excel at the start of the Indy 500. You know, it's again, you've got to imagine 33 cars at 230 miles an hour all going into a corner at one time. That is likely going to freak you out a little bit, especially if you get to drive these cars one time a year. Yeah. And that's what Catherine does, and has only done it 3-4 times in her entire life. As she's heading in, she typically is a little bit slower. She's one of the ones that'll kind of drop back and let people kind of go through. Well, the problem is the guys at the front, the Penske guys, are the fastest. They are going to catch her within 2 or 3 laps, realistically speaking, maybe 4 or 5 laps, but they're going to catch her because she'll be at the back. To your point, Adam, in terms of how they get around her, because she doesn't do it as often, her positioning in terms of knowing where she should be through each of those corners isn't as good as it should be. Right? This isn't Danica Patrick, who was in the series all the time. This is someone who just really has gotten to do this for the last few years. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, to see if Penske can keep themselves together. And, not to mention, you've got McLaren right on you. You got Rossi, who's going to be right behind you heading into turn 1, and everybody wants to hit turn 1 first. And 33 cars cannot get through that corner. On race day, on turn 1, you may get 2 through there, but if you try to go wider than 2, you're going to have some bad things happen. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Obviously, you can tell
going to be fun.
That we're getting excited about it. So it is that time. We will be doing an additional broadcast. I don't know. I think we will be probably recording it before the show, but definitely not going to get it dropped before the race, because we know that Adam typically, he just takes his time as he puts his stuff out there. Now, Adam, is there something where on YouTube we could do something live?
Oh, of course.
Like from the track.
Yeah, 100%.
Like we can do that on the phone, or what would we need to have to do that?
So I can do it all from my phone. We can go live from my phone. I can.
Do you have your live mics?
I'm bringing the live mics. I'm bringing the gimbal, because I'm gonna film stuff at the track. As long
awesome.
Do you have a like a portable charger? If you supply the portable charger,
we can get a portable charger. Yeah, we can get just a portable iPhone charger. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got all day Saturday. We'll get that. Saturday, we're going to have to go and get some supplies for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So we will do that. We will get that, and let's try to go live at least a little bit on Sunday. That'd be fun.
Yeah, of course.
Especially if we're all sitting in the car and it's raining.
I was looking just because I was curious if you guys out there are looking. There are no more of the current Team Connor Daly jerseys for sale. They are sold out.
Sold out.
Completely sold out. Every size.
Really?
Yeah, every size of the pink polka dot branded. Yeah. All sold out.
That's fun. I love that, man.
And they got restocked. And they sold out a second time.
We may be able to find some at the track. So maybe we can take a look at that. Something that you'd be interested in. We could take a look and see what they've got. They usually have some merchandise for about all the drivers that are out there.
Even if it's not like the current one, I just want even if it's like a BitNile like NASCAR Daily shirt, I just want a Connor Daly jersey.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something that we got to work on. So there we go. Right. I think that's the first official episode of the Eric and Adam show. And,
was kind of entirely about the race, but that's what happens when you're.
Yeah, we're 4 days away from the Indianapolis 500. This is what you're gonna get.
That's what happens when you're 3 days, 13 hours, 22 minutes, and about 10 seconds away from the start of the Indianapolis 500.
Yes, it is. And rain or not, it will be a phenomenal weekend. Adam,
it will be.
So excited you're going to be here. I think that's great. And, we will be putting together some more content when everybody's here, and it'll be fun. It'll be our first recording session, all of us in Studio X. So that'll be kind of cool. So looking forward to it, my man. I love you. And I will see you here in less than 48 hours. We'll see you on Friday night as we get ready for the greatest spectacle in racing, the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So
it's going to be a great time.
It is. All right. Well, on behalf of my brother Adam, You can say it for yourself if you want. Say goodbye.
We got to pimp the socials, my guy.
Oh, I forgot about the socials. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off. We'll let Adam pimp out the socials, and then we're done, and we'll see you here in a couple of days, brother. So love you, my man. Be safe. And to all of you oxidizers out there that have tuned in to finally see us, yeah, we're sorry you did too. So we get it. And other than that, we're glad you're listening, and hope you continue. Again, we'll be putting out some more content here soon. Yeah. And that's it from Studio X, my man.
All right. Well, first thing I'd like to say, I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Eric and Adam Show. We really enjoy doing the shows that we do for you guys. But fun part, we are on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Oxidized Pod. We are also on YouTube, www.youtube.com/@OxidizedPod. We are also, if you want to get in contact with us, the best way to do that is to send us an email, and that is oxidizedpod@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments you want to make about the show, or if you want to, give us a topic for a guest for Oxidized, which is our other show. Apparently he's pulling through the... Anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night or day. And from me and Dad, have a great one, guys.